Last week I introduced the concept of your business being likened to a three-legged stool. A solid three-legged stool will sit on almost any surface, and a solid business will operate in almost any marketplace if that business is built on three solid legs. And the three legs I recommend are brand, systems and people. And last week in my vlog I spoke about brand. This week I'm going to concentrate on systems, and if you come back next week I'll talk to you about people. So systems, let's talk about systems for a second. Systems are simply a way of doing things. That's it. Systems are simply a way of doing things. And if you're starting out in business, as I did many years ago, you're likely to do everything yourself. When we started Carambola in 2003, I found the client, I made the sandwich, I loaded the van, I drove the van, I delivered the lunches, I was the customer care representative, I answered the phones, I invoiced the schools, got the checks, lodged the checks and started again. And from then we've built a significant business all across Ireland supplying school lunches. Back then, because I was working on my own with a handful of helpers, it was very difficult to scale. As we grew, we simply systemized our business, attracted some great people into our business, and our business has grown into a multi-million euro business since. Let's consider a system that we all know just for a second by way of example. We've all had occasion to clear the table after dinner. And let me ask you this, would it make sense for you to go to take your plate and go to the sink and wash the plate and dry the plate and put the plate away, and then go back to the table and take your knife and fork, bring them to the sink, wash your knife and fork, dry your knife and fork, put them away, go back to the table, take your glass, bring it to the sink, wash the glass, dry it, put it away, go back to the table and repeat the same 3 steps for your partner's wear? Probably wouldn't make sense, but it is a system. That's one way of doing it. The end result of that system is a clean table, a clean sink, and all the ware put away. Same principle applies in business. You've got 3 things you need to do. You need to make a sale, you need to produce a product or service, and you need to invoice and get paid. You must do those 3 things. And it doesn't matter what else you do in your business. The most important element in your business is that you make a sale. I always say in Carambola, if you're not producing a sandwich, if you're not packing a lunch bag, if you're not driving a van, or if you're not involved in customer care in front of a client making sure they're happy, well then fundamentally you are an overhead. And that includes me, because these days I'm not involved in any of those processes directly. But the most important element in everything that you or I do in our business is that we make a sale. It's the most important thing, because without the sale there's no lifeblood in our business. So all the other systems that we must build, and we must build them, are there simply to support that process of finding a customer, making a sale, making a product, invoicing and getting paid. Every business is built on systems. The question is, are those systems in the head of the solopreneur, the man with the van, the self-employed individual who does everything him or herself? Or are those systems systems that have been documented and taught to others to allow the business leverage and grow? I spoke about leverage some time back in my blog series, so if you want to check that out, it's worth doing so, because it talks about the difference between the self-employed individual and the person who goes on to build a business. And they're 2 completely different animals. And the fundamental difference is that firstly, a decision is made to build a scalable business, and then secondly, systems are created and then taught to other people, and those people then implement those systems, and as a result of those people implementing those systems, the business grows and scales. I heard it said that McDonalds is a multi-billion-dollar business that's global, that's run effectively through systems and run by teenagers. How bad? And so I hope you can see the importance of developing systems with which to run your business, and then teaching people how to run those systems so that your business runs properly in the way that you want it to run, whether you're there or not. And that leads me nicely to why I want you to come back next week, because I want to talk to you about the 3rd leg on the 3-legged stool. We spoke about brand last week, we spoke about systems today, and next week I'd like you to come back and I'd like to talk to you about the absolute vital importance of you attracting even better people. Good brand, great systems, even better people. Key to success. Please consider what's been shared here today and apply it into your thinking for next week. And then most importantly, please come back next week and let's share another coffee together. And I'll share another snippet, another part of the journey next week. Specifically, it's about the 3rd leg on the stool, which is people. Please come back for that and we'll chat then. I love good coffee. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.